Ms. Snehā Nagarkar, who is a visiting faculty at the Department of Archaeology, Center for Extramural Studies, University of Mumbai. Has done her archaeology from Deccan College, Pune, holds diplomas in Sanskrit Museology and Indian Aesthetics from University of Mumbai. She runs her own cultural education forum called Panchajanya Cultural Heritage Initiatives and presented multiple papers at national and international conferences. And she has also conducted many heritage walks in Mumbai and Vrindavan, and her special area of study is the Mathurā Vrindavan region. She has her own YouTube channel. And her topic today is Shaivism and the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathurā. Snehā, ma'am.
Thank you so much, madam. I extend my gratitude to the organizers and thank them for this opportunity. Without much ado, I will start with my presentation. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So my topic is Shaivism and the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathurā. Land of Mathurā or Vraja, if you see the history of Shaivism, it can be stretched back at least to the 1st century BCE. One colossal Shivalinga from the Kankali Mount and another stone plaque depicting the worship of a Shivalinga by superhuman beings from Bhuteshwara are the most ancient evidences for Shaiva worship in the Mathurā region. Both of these date back to the 1st century BCE. From the Kushana period onwards, we have a number of Ekamukha Shivalingas which were worshipped in the region of Mathurā. Shaiva worship was not only restricted to the autochthonous population, but was also adopted by communities like the Shakas who had foreign origins. Epigraphical and sculptural evidences indicate the existence of Shaiva sects like Pashupata in Mathurā in the Gupta period, and the number of images of Lord Shiva alone or with Parvati as Uma Maheshwara begin to proliferate from the Gupta period onward, and this phenomenon continues right till the early medieval period. From the early medieval period onwards, we find that the Vaishnava sect in general and the Krishnite sect in particular became predominant in the Mathurā region, and the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathurā, the earliest of which dates back to the 12th century CE, project Mathurā mainly as a Vaishnava center. But in spite of being essentially Vaishnava in character, the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathurā have copious references to the worship of Lord Shiva. In fact, in the Kalpadru of Keshava, this text, Mathurā is also called Shivapura. Mathurā to Madhu Pagnam, Madhura Shivapuratha. This is a sculpture depicting the worship of a Shivalinga by the Shakas. This is from the Mathurā Museum, dated to the 1st, 2nd centuries of the Common Era. This is a list of texts that I have consulted. I have consulted around 21 primary texts for this study, both in Sanskrit and in Braja Bhasha. Now, the belief which is there today in the present times is that there are 4 principal Mahadevas of the greater Mathurā region, which is the Mathurā district of the present times. So we have Bhuteshwara in Mathurā, in the city of Mathurā proper, and this Shivalinga is supposed to be the oldest among the 4 Mahadevas of Mathurā. Then we have Kameshwara in Kamavan. Kamavan is a part of Braja, but it falls in the state of Rajasthan. Then we have Chakreshwara in the town of Govardhana, and finally we have Gopishwara or Gopeshwara in Vrindavan. Apart from these 4 Mahadevas of Braja region or the Mathurā region at large, there are 4 Mahadevas as Kshetrapalas of Mathurā, the city of Mathurā. So we have Bhuteshwara in the west, Rangeshwara in the south, Pippaladeshwar in the east, and Gokarneshwar in the north. So first I will come to the Mathurā Mahatmya in the Varaha Purana. So there in this text, there is a reference to a Shiva Kunda and a Shiva Kshetra situated at a distance of half a krosha from Koti Tirtha is mentioned, and it is described as Dushkaram. And it is told that Tatra Sthito Haro Devo Mathuram Rakshate Sada. So here the Lord who is here, Lord Shiva who is here, eternally protects the city of Mathurā. And a person who bathes at this tirtha and consumes water is blessed with all the merit of Mathurā. And the one who gives up his life at this kshetra attains the loka of Vishnu. Then we have a sthala called the Pushpa Sthala, which is considered to be a Shaiva Kshetra, Shiva Kshetra. And the one who bathes here attains the honor in the loka of Lord Shiva. Then Varaha tells the earth, the Mathurā Mahātmya and the Varaha Purana, it unfolds as a dialogue between the Varaha avatar of Lord Vishnu and Bhudevi, or the earth. And Varaha tells the earth that he has appointed Dikpalas to protect Mathura. And these 4 Lokapalas protect Mathura. So in the east we have Indra, south we have Yama, west we have Varuna, and in the north we have Kubera. And he says, Lord Varaha further says that Lord Umapati Shiva himself protects the central part of the city. So this whole idea about 4 Dikpalas protecting Mathura from 4 sides and Lord Shiva protecting Mathura in the center is quite old, and this was the original, perhaps this was the original belief, rather than the 4 Mahadevas of Mathura city, which is a slightly later development. Then we come to Pippaladeshwara Mahadeva, and we are told in the Mathurā Mahātmya that one must have the darshana and worship of Pingaladeshwar. Pingaladeshwar and Pippaladeshwar are the same, who was established by Mahatapasvi Pippalada Rishi. And this Shivalinga was worshipped by Maharishi Pippalada himself. And we are told that Pippalada circumambulated the Shivalinga and rested there. This is the temple of Pippaleshwar Nath Mahadev, which is very close to Vishram Ghat, which is the principal ghat or the Tirtha, Vishranti Tirtha at Mathura. This is the darshana of Pippaleshwara Mahadeva. Then we have a chapter, an adhyaya in the Varaha Purana Mathurā Mahātmya about the Kshetrapala, and Dharani asks Lord Varaha about the Kshetrapala of Mathura, who resides in Mathura and protects the city. So Lord Varaha answers her query by stating that there dwells the great Bhutapati Deva. Bhutapati Deva is the same as Bhuteshwara in Mathura, who emancipates people from the great sins and bestows them with boons. So the narrative in the Varaha Purana Mathurā Mahātmya about Bhuteshwara is that Lord Shiva prayed to Lord Vishnu or Krishna for 1,000 years. He meditated on him, he performed tapas, and finally Lord Vishnu or Krishna was very pleased with him and asked him to ask for a boon. So Lord Shiva said that I want to permanently, eternally dwell in Mathura. So what Lord Vishnu said is that I am making you the guardian, the Kshetrapala of Mathura, and you will reside here for eternity. However, the narrative which the local priest told me when I visited the shrine of Bhuteshwara is that just as Lord Rama had worshipped the Shivalinga of Rameshwara before defeating Ravana, in the same way Shatrughna worshipped this Bhuteshwara Shivalinga to defeat the Asura, Lavanasura, who had occupied Mathura, and it was then that Shatrughna founded the city of Mathura, or gave it more of an urban kind of character. And it is also said that in the Dwapara Yuga, Lord Vishwanatha, Kashi Vishwanatha, manifested himself as Bhuteshwara in the city of Mathura. And there is a reference in the Harivansha where it is said that the Yadavas, they saluted, they prayed to Pinakinam, which is Lord Shiva, and then they left for Dwaraka. So in my opinion, this could be a reference to Bhuteshwara Shiva, who is considered to be the Kshetrapala or the guardian of Mathura. So this is that plaque belonging to the 1st century BC, where we can see some kind of semi-divine beings worshipping the Shivalinga, and this particular sculpture was found from Bhuteshwara. So this is one of the most ancient evidences for the worship of Lord Shiva in Mathura. And as you can see, there is no temple, but the Shivalinga has been placed under a tree. Then there is also a reference to the Lord Gokarneshwara in the Varaha Purana Mathurā Mahātmya. And to cut a long story short, a Vaishya couple was blessed with a son through the Krupa of Gokarneshwara Mahadev, and this son was named Gokarna. And ultimately, this Gokarna, after a lot of trials and tribulations, was also blessed with a son through the grace, through the Anugraha of Lord Gokarneshwara. And Gokarneshwara is one of the 4 Mahadevas of Mathura. There is also a relatively modern work called Gokarneshwar Ashtakam, which was written around the 19th century. And this Ashtakam calls Lord Gokarneshwara as the greatest deity, and he is described as Krishna Vallabha. Then I come to the text of Raja Bhakti Vilasa, which was written in 1553 CE by Narayan Bhatta. And here also there is a reference to Bhuteshwara Mahadeva, and as you can see on the screen, Bhuteshwara Mahadeva is supposed to have been consecrated, supposed to have been established by Lord Hari himself. And there is again a reference to Bhuteshwara Shiva, and we are told that this deity was established in the Dwapara Yuga by the Devatas for the protection of the Bhutas. Then Pippaladeshwara Mahadeva is also mentioned, and he is identified with Vishnu and is addressed as Keshava. And we are told that he was established by Vishnu himself. Actually, even as Acharya Shankara Bhagavat Pada has said, there is no difference between Shiva and Vishnu. And Pippaladeshwara Mahadeva is considered to be a manifestation of Vishnu himself. Then we have Lord Chakreshwara Sadashiva, which was established at Chakratirtha on the banks of the Manasi Ganga by all the Devatas for the fulfillment of their wishes. Manasi Ganga is a tank in the town of Govardhana. The mantra of Lord Chakreshwara Mahadev is included in the Rudra Yamala, and Lord Chakreshwara is supposed to have 5 faces. We know that the Sadashiva form of Lord Shiva also has 5 faces, and he's invoked for the protection of the
Snehaji, could you start concluding, please?
Okay, fine. I'm already okay. Okay, this is Kameshwara Mahadeva. This is Gopishwara Mahadeva, who is in Vrindavan. He is worshipped in the form of a gopi. Okay, I'll come to my conclusion directly now. So, Shaivism is a very dominant sect in the early historic and early medieval periods in Mathura, and it is attested by archaeological evidences also. And there was a harmonious integration of the Shaiva sect within the Mathura Mandala Parikrama, and this is through associating Lord Shiva with Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Apart from Lord Vishnu and Krishna, Lord Shiva is the most represented deity in the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathura. Lord Shiva's role as Kshetrapala is the most emphasized aspect in the Sthala Mahātmyas of Mathura, and he dwells eternally in the Mathura region. And he's always associated with Lord Krishna, whether it is as Rangeshwara, Bhuteshwara, Gopishwara, Nandeshwara, Chakreshwara. All these deities have some of the association with Lord Sri Krishna. The Mathura Mahadevas are all benevolent deities. They emancipate the bhaktas from their sins. They give them a lot of boons. They protect the deities. Some of the Mahadevas have been addressed as Vrajarupa. So in a way, the Mahadevas embody the whole region of Vraja, and thus they are very integral to the region of Vraja. And because of the inclusion of the Mahadevas in the Mathura Mandala Parikrama, the sacrality of the Mathura region has greatly increased because of the power and the sacredness associated with these Mahadevas. And lastly, I would like to say that Lord Shiva is omnipresent in Mathura, in the Mathura region, and we can say this from the references in the texts and the archaeological evidence. So right from Bhuteshwara, which is the oldest Shivalinga, up to Keshaveshwara. Keshaveshwara is the Shivalinga in the Bhagavad Bhavana temple at the Sri Krishna Janmasthana. So many temples in the Mathura region, even though they might be Krishnite in their orientations, do have a Shivalinga. So the residence of Lord Shiva in Mathura is eternal, and it is very, very significant. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Snehaji. That was a very interesting peek into another view of Mathura that also testifies to how our traditions are complementary, how they've always coexisted. Thank you.